Well, the no-fault insurance changes are leaving drivers with a whole lot of questions out there. So Tom Sinas joining us now about one of the biggest concerns people have after a crash, how to recover your medical expenses.
Boy, Derek, this no-fault law that was passed back in June has created a whole bunch of changes. Many of them will kick in over time. But in the immediate aftermath, I am noticing what I can best describe as a total mess when it comes to a certain group of people. And this has to do with what we call priority. Priority sounds fancy, but it really is that it begs the question, where do you go for your no-fault benefits after a crash? All right, the general rule, and it still is the general rule, is that you go to your own insurance company. But what about people who don't have auto insurance and aren't required to have auto insurance? And there are plenty of them. Pedestrians who don't own a car, people who ride their bike to work, senior citizens who don't drive. You know, the list goes on. There's plenty of people that are not required to have auto insurance but can be involved in an auto accident. Where do they go? Well, the new law says that those people now have to go to this place called the Michigan Assigned Claims Plan, which is a place where some people call the insurer of last resort. You go there if you're entitled to no-fault benefits, but there's no other insurance company involved. One of the problems with this legislation is that it caps people's benefits in the assigned claims plan at $250,000. However, the old rules were that these uninsured victims would go to the vehicle involved in the crash. So the pedestrian would go to the vehicle that struck her. Except the new law says now you're supposed to go to the assigned claims plan. Well, after the new law was passed, the insurance commissioner issued an order saying, well, it's not the new law rule that applies. It's actually the old law rule that applies. So the poor pedestrian, so says the commissioner, needs to go to the vehicle that struck her, but the assigned claims plan under the legislation is supposed to be, according to the legislature, the place where the pedestrian goes. So the pedestrian is now left with this totally confusing situation. Do I go to the vehicle that struck me, or do I go to the assigned claims plan? And they're both pointing their fingers at each other right now. And I'm seeing, unfortunately, too often the one thing that's not supposed to happen in no fault, which is that people's bills are not getting paid because you have insurance companies who are pointing the finger at each other. And this whole confusion applies most specifically to uninsured victims, particularly those people who were injured after this new law went into effect. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but I really do hope we get this sorted out at some point.
As if it's not bad enough when you're injured and things like that, now you got to go through all this stress of people pointing the finger at each other and all these rules are changing. For sure, a lot of questions about this. Where do people track you down?
I could find us first online at www.sinusdramus.com. We have a lengthy summary of the new law there. Give us a call in West Michigan at 616-301-3333 or shoot us an email at info@sinusdramus.com.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Derek.